Hey, GLP-1 plus sides community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I really want to share something personal with you. About, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, after losing 100 pounds on GLP-1s and keeping it off for a long time, I started regaining out of nowhere, and I was terrified. But I also started having hot flashes and bouts of crying and snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. unable to go back to sleep. It turns out I was in perimenopause. So I started hormone replacement therapy, which is also called HRT, through a telehealth called Winona that specializes in this. And it changed everything. And now I'm sleeping better and my hot flashes are all but gone, thank God. And I feel like myself again. And it turns out that you can actually start perimenopause as early as 35. And well, I'm 46 and she's here. HRT has really come a long way and there's just no need to suffer anymore. So if you're like this and you're in the same boat, you can check out buywinona.com and you can use the link in our link tree to save some money.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Ro now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper. With results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster. Confidence higher. Price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Welcome
to the party. The plus sides party.
This is the scrappiest and ridiculous podcast. And you have caught us on a very scrappy day. Were you fishing?
Let me take a sip of my water from the plus sides. Get you one. Water. It's amazing.
Thank you
so link trees.
much, Kat, for the plug of the merch store. This episode is called Benefits Who, because we are going to be talking about benefits.
I don't know why I'm brushing my teeth.
I don't either. If you are the first time you've come here to the podcast, usually we have our other co-host, Jernine, with us, but she's having technical difficulties and isn't able to join today. Sad face. We will miss her very, very much. Yes. So, but we do have a very good show planned. So if you are coming to this for the first time ever, this podcast was born out of a TikTok community and basically made up of people that suffer from many, many different diseases and disorders that are able to be treated by GLP-1 medications. And it has changed our lives in so many different ways. My name is Kim Carlos. I have lost 63 pounds leveraging GLP-1 medications. I suffer from a binge eating disorder. I say suffer, but I don't have it anymore because the medicine has completely stopped that. I have had obesity since I was as long as I can remember. I was always very large. And I have had an eating disorder, binge eating disorder since I'm repeating myself, since the age of 8. And that's kind of what my story is. And Kat is my good friend, that even though we are on TikTok, we didn't know that each one of us was taking the other. We kind of bumped into each other. And we do this. And then our friend Janine, we met in TikTok as well. And she, just so you guys know, she is usually on the show. She has obesity, she has Sjogren's, and she also suffers from type 2 diabetes. And she takes Mounjaro. So I wanted to give her a little intro just so you know when you see her who she is and what she's about. Please join when you can. But today we're going to talk about, she is our super sleuth. Today we're going to talk about benefits. We're going to have on a community guest. The way the podcast usually goes. Today's bananas. Usually we have a community guest who tells their story, unfiltered and uncut, because we wanted everybody to have a space to be able to do that, as opposed to the media who has taken it and been able to spin things to fit their own agenda, and we don't do that here. Our agenda is talk to your doctor. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Mm-hmm. Yay. Okay.
We're all
That's
here.
All we want here. Yes.
This community is fantastic. Yeah.
It is. And we're going to talk about some serious stuff today and some stuff we need to know, especially around benefits, because it is a game that I think has a lot of rules and most of us don't know what they are. So how can we advocate for ourselves? So we're going to figure out what that is today. And we have a very special guest and 2 very special guests. So our first one is our community guest. And then our other one is a benefits specialist, as I mentioned, that's going to talk to us more about this. So thanks for your patience today with our scrubby selves. We really appreciate it. And Kat, just for our audience, do you want them to know a little bit about you in case they haven't met you before?
I'm South of France Kat. South of France Kat. Like every week, like you said, I make up a different name. Rosie called me South of France when I dropped off of the podcast last week when I was in Nice.
You were in Nice, France. She said, it's a hard knock life for you.
I know. Hard knock life. Having a brie omelet. A very, very, very tough life. It was a gorgeous vacation. I do have to say that I only gained like 2 to 3 pounds when I was in France. That Mediterranean, like Lebanese chickpeas, vegetable, olive oil diet really is fantastic. Even coupled with all of the wine that I did consume. So I'm still
water. At 62. Like you just got
right, exactly.
For sure, water and
exactly. Totally. I'm so amazed with myself. Like I just was in the moment.
Yeah.
And just, for everybody who has not listened or seen before, I am slightly Prince obsessed. And
slightly.
Just a little bit. Which way am I pointing at? But here's my ATLian. He does have all of my Prince groupie stuff on him. And also Under the Cherry Moon. Yes, when I was in Nice, I made sure I did go to the places where Under the Cherry Moon was filmed. And Rats, Mary Sharon's house was closed for fire prevention. Maintenance.
What does that even mean?
That's okay. I went to the gate. I took a picture of myself I know, in Nice, France, on the coast. It is in Antibes, France. But on the water. But so it doesn't. I saw all the Prince things that I could under the Cherry Moon. But we weren't there for that. We went there for a fantastic vacation, and it was gorgeous.
Well,
I only gained 2 pounds.
I saw lots of videos, butt stuff. Videos.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna upload the butt stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And I do butt stuff. Not what you think.
So that you don't get Mounjaro.
Yeah. No, you'll get Mounjaro butt. So like I love fitness. I love to work out. Yeah. I just had binge eating disorder. I'm not gonna. Maybe one day I'll get really deep, but not today.
Yeah. We can also look at what episode. It's episode 3. If you want to know more detailed about your story too.
Yeah. So, but always been into fitness, but I really would like to not be as obese as I had been. And I always thought it was my fault too. So, and my doctors did as well. Some have been straight up a-holes to me, but this one I found was great. And she listens to me and I feel seen, and I'm on Mounjaro now.
Great. That's great. That's awesome. And lots of things changing today. So we'll talk more about that soon. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes,
let's invite in our community guest. Hey, Kathrin.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Fancy you meeting you here again.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's hump day. Sorry.
Is that what it is? I don't know. Today is bananas.
Well, on this day when we recorded, it's hump day.
Okay. Yes. This is my other favorite, Kathrin.
Aww, thank you.
Double Kathrin squared, if you will. different humans.
I love it.
I like that.
Like it.
Cat squared. Kathrin squared. I love it.
K squared too, because it's spelled with the K, right? K squared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is our very scrappy podcast, and we are very glad to have you. As I mentioned in the beginning, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to tell your story, share your testimonial, because someone else out there is going to hear you and going to go, that sounds like me. And then they're going to go to their doctor and they're going to get help. It happens every time. I get a message every single episode that someone was like, that sounds like me. I'm talking about it. It's huge. This is very impactful. These are very important conversations to have. And we would love for you to take the space and tell it unfiltered and uncut.
Well, thank you. And while I've said the space is as foundational as the medication that we're taking, and I've watched every episode, and every time I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Right.
I'm not so alone, and I'm not broken, and I'm not weird. Like, it's not me.
Community is so important. I'm thankful for all of it.
Yeah.
It's incredibly important.
Yeah. My story's not so different than others. I've been larger my entire life. I grew up in a family where I was the largest, and I always remember that. My mother put me on every diet known to man from, I think, age 6. My earliest memories are of everyone else making their plate at the table and my mom making mine in the kitchen. So like this othering happened really early in my life. I've tried every diet, and it reinforced this otherness for me. I'm also the only brown one in my family, so they're just othering everywhere. In my 20s, I prided myself in being the most disciplined at working out and learning about macros and really reinforcing all of these habits and behaviors that I learned through Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and, fill in the blank of what diet. Fast forward to last October, a dietitian I know who's a dear friend mentioned that she was on this journey, and a doctor she's connected to said, obesity is a chronic illness and it's not your fault. And it shifted the axis of my world. Fully shifted the axis. Since then, I've lost 80 pounds. My A1C has gone down 0.9 points. My cholesterol is normal. I never thought I'd be a size 16. It's been sophomore year. Like, it's why I look myself in the mirror, even in, this podcast. I'm like, who is that girl? Like, and I'm really proud of not shrinking, but the advocating for myself and the integrity of saying, I'm not going to take no for an answer. The integrity of, I'm going to do the next thing that feels good and that is good for me. That is a new behavior for me. This medication, it did all the things. It quieted the noise almost instantly. It taught me about hunger and fullness that I've never experienced. Like, I could eat the perfect meal and have an unending hunger. Yeah. Like a famished to the edge of the earth. I think about food from the first and last thought. And so it quieted all of that. And it also allowed me to really implement habits that I knew were good that I just couldn't get. And because I wasn't disciplined enough, or I wasn't this, and it really wasn't me. And it's allowed me this freedom to also enjoy treats without guilt or shame. It's really shifted how I saw myself in the world and how I move in the world. And then it's created friendships that I never thought possible.
It really has.
Girl, we've had conversations that have gone deep. That is valuable to me. And it's taught me a new way of advocating for myself in a way that I didn't think was possible with my employer. with my doctor. I see a telehealth, but also my primary care as also duly board certified. And so she gets it. And I no longer have this white knuckle fear of like everything being reduced to my weight. Because whether, I broke my arm or I had a migraine or I had allergies, everything was because I was obese. And we never actually addressed the real underlying causes of things. And my world has changed because of this medication. And so when you asked me to be on here, I'm like, if my story can help one person of like, don't take no for an answer. If you feel something is off, your doctor's work for you. Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Your doctor's work for you.
Don't be so humble, like so quiet.
But I think that's part of our culture.
That was pushed into our heads just because
doctors are always right. They're not right. You know what I mean? And just stuff like that. I think that we forget so often that they are just humans. Yes, they're highly educated, but they don't know everything, especially when they're not specialists, right? Yeah. How can they know everything? That's like I saw a TikTok one day that a guy was like, I am a health specialist, an anti-aging doctor or anti-aging professional. I'm like, what are you? He was a chiropractor. Now I love a chiropractor. This guy has no business talking about GLP-1s, Yeah.
I mean, that's
been that way or they're against it, which is even like more.
Quick pause here. I've had moments on my GLP-1 journey where insurance changes or rising costs force me to look for a new provider. And honestly, that process can feel very overwhelming. But that's why the Plus Size Podcast is partnered with GLP Winner to give our subscribers a resource to help them make that decision easier. GLP Winner is a comparison platform that lets you explore telehealth providers in all 50 states, whether you're looking for brand name medications or compounded options. You can see pricing up front, read reviews, and get a clear picture of which provider might align best with your needs. Check it out today at glpwinner.com/plus-sides. That's glpwinner.com/plus-sides. Don't forget the Z. Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m., and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you have this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need.
20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Ro helps find the medication that's right for you, based on cost, availability, and your weight loss goals. Losing weight with GLP-1s is possible through Ro.
And that's one thing I've had to work through some anger. Like doctors have failed me my entire life. From the doctor who said my fibroids were my abs and just keep working out. Or, when I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis, like my active life is over. Just use the Mediterranean diet and like move more, like eat less. And And then when you learn that that's not what it was, this anger comes up that you really have to process. So this has been my doctor, my care team, my therapist, my habit coach. Like the medication has allowed all these things to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We will have to have a different conversation around benefits, but I think that we at least can talk about from like our perspective, what we've experienced. Sure. But at least for now, I think what I'm starting to realize is that they're going and making obviously these choices every year. And I think the smaller the company, I feel like the Oddly enough, I feel like my benefits have been better when I work for smaller tech companies and startups. Kathrin, I know you and I have had a lot of conversations about finding a way to advocate for yourself, which you mentioned earlier. And I know that with people making these decisions around benefits, especially with GLP-1s becoming more popular, if you will, I even hate using that, but more popular to treat obesity, right? Anti-obesity medications, not weight loss and weight management. I think we're at the point where we do have to advocate for ourselves to ensure that we have medicine to cover our disease. Now, I know that that's something that you've gone through, and I'd love to kind of hear your perspective on that if you're willing to share.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. My education around insurance and PAs and benefit managers started from the jump. Like I knew nothing, and I had to get smart about it to learn about that on my end and dig into my insurance. And what I found was that there was a complete obesity shutout, that all the type of medications were on, all the obesities were off. And I began to have conversations with various people at my company. I work in tech, which they always say that tech is great insurance until you start digging into it. I had a great conversation with our global benefits person who got his team activated. And before that conversation, I actually wrote a letter that went into what is the history of obesity as a chronic illness, the history of the medications, basically a white paper. And I also shared what it means to be larger bodied at a company. And like, what is that lived experience? And some of the examples are, the chairs that you have at the office. Until recently, I was overweight capacity. So every time I sat at an all hands, I held my breath and was like, is this the day that Kathrin cracks the chair? Or in the cafeteria, we had booths. And if you sat in a booth and I wanted to join you for lunch, I would probably keep walking and go to my desk. And there just wasn't this holistic thought about who was using the space. And it's just not thought of. We think about ability in different ways. And that was just really a miss. And so I took it as a moment to educate the team around like what my lived experience was and what probably a third of the team was experiencing. And so for us right now is kind of the moment where we work with our insurance companies for next year. And so I had the conversation about a month and a half ago. And, they're doing all of the cost analysis. I mean, the question that I had was, did you do that for type 2 diabetes? And it's constantly advocating to show the implicit and explicit bias in ways that people might not notice, who are doing the work. So, I mean, it's to be continued, I guess, in October when our plans come out. Yeah. But I have a draft letter that I've shared with the community. Anyone can copy it. I don't care. Like, take what you want. But I made it about like the history and also like the impact on the company when it comes to absenteeism, comorbidities, that obesity is on a spectrum with type 2 diabetes. And do we really want our employees to wait until they do have type 2? Like that is what was my trajectory. And isn't it great for a tech company that does so much of a D&I? You could be a trailblazer. So that's kind of the approach that I took. And I don't know how it's landed. I mean, I guess we'll find out in a couple months.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really good that you did, though.
I'm rooting for it.
I think that, I am too. And I think everybody is going to need to take a stand. But I think what's kind of hard is it's like, as being a person of size, if you will, you very much want to almost pretend that you're blending in and almost like make yourself smaller, in some ways by not being maybe your true full self. At least that's been my experience. Mm-hmm. And I remember that feeling, the one that you talked about, like when we have all hands and stuff. Like I wasn't sure of what the weight capacity were of the chairs, but I was pretty sure I was over it. And I remember thinking the same thing. Is this going to be the day? Is this going to be the day? Mm-hmm. And it's a horrible feeling because how can you bring your best self to work where you spend the majority of your life? You know what I mean? If you're in a room that you feel like you're going to break the chair, and it's not your fault. Like it's not like it's, and even if it is, let's just pretend like it is still, like you should treat people better than that, Mm-hmm. And I hope that we're at a place where there's going to be more empathy and sympathy for people who struggle with these disorders, and this disease, and I'm hoping that we're going to start doing that with the podcast. Like, that's what we're trying to do, scrappiness and all. Like, we're trying to get as loud as we can and have people, one, know they're not alone. No, it's not their fault. And two, there are ways for you to be able to stand up for yourself. So we'll focus on that a lot today. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We really appreciate that. And I know we also have another special guest I mentioned in the beginning that we thought wasn't going to be, but now she's here and it's just a great day. But Brittany, I'm going to invite her up to join us. Hey, Brittany.
Hello. Tech is definitely not on our side today.
I am so glad that we were able to connect with you because I really thought that we had lost you. So obviously we know that I mentioned that you work in benefits. I also know you're a good friend of Kathrin's. So we'd love to hear more about what you do for a living and how it relates to some of the things we're talking about. So can you tell us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So I actually started in the benefit space in 2005. Working at a health insurance company. So those people that you're calling on the back of your ID card, asking what are my benefits for this or that, or why is this claim not paid? I worked in the call center. So the first 2 years of working in an insurance company, that's where I started. And then eventually I was promoted into the appeals department. So for those of you writing those appeal letters to your health insurance company and you're like, cover this medication or why aren't you doing this? I was one of the people reviewing them. Spoiler alert, I'm not a doctor. I was just like a normal person, 23 years old, getting this letter. Granted, we have processes that send the information to medical providers that work for the insurance company, but it's just a normal individual who has no health background that's actually navigating that process. And so I was in health insurance until 2009. And it was at that moment I was like, all right, I need to take this knowledge. Like, I don't like telling people your medication's not covered or your claim not covered. How can I use the knowledge that I've gathered and I've absorbed at that point? How can I use it for good? And I found a company take a chance on me in HR. And so that's how I pivoted into HR. And I've been in charge of benefits at a variety of companies, all multi-state, global, anywhere from 50 employees up to 4,500 employees. So that is kind of the career trajectory that gets me here today.
That's awesome. Man, you know all the things, Brittany.
And I try to I keep my pulse on it often because I still have a lot of friends that work at health insurance companies and the process for one, they all do the similar process. So I'm always asking them hey, did you guys change this yet? Or tell me how this happens.
Yeah.
So I know.
That's so interesting.
I know enough to be dangerous.
Yeah. Right. Well, we're super glad to have you here. I think that, and I kind of mentioned it before, we're in this game and we don't know the rules, So I think if we can kind of understand when people are choosing the benefits plan, let's just start there, for the next year, how long ahead do they plan for that? When do they start making those decisions? I'd love to know, usually who are involved in terms of a departments. And then I'd love to know, because those are the who's that we can go to advocate. Right.
Right.
And then I'd love to know, who are the ones that are making the decisions around things what needs to be met for pre-authorization for medication, or if a medication that's a GLP-1 should even be covered on a plan, and whether it's for type 2 or not. I'd love to know the who's and the whys and all those things. So just, tell me what to think.
Yeah. People start planning for the renewal. And honestly, so if your benefits start over in January, we start planning in April. We start looking at very early pre-renewal strategy. How are we seeing claims trend already? What are our employees asking us about? What problem areas are we experiencing? And starting the strategy planning in April. In June, July timeline is when we start getting the rates from the insurance providers. So right now is the perfect time for your company to be getting this information.
Okay.
It varies on who to talk to, depending on how big your company is, right? If you're at a small company, a lot of times it's your CFO that actually manages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I work for a small company, so you got to go to him.
It's your CFO. It may be the CEO. You may have one HR person. who might do it. But, as the companies get bigger, there are centers of excellences that are created within the organization to support those. So the larger companies, you'll probably have total rewards, might be a department that you want to seek out, look in your employee directory, type in total rewards, see who might pop up, type in benefits. If you don't see any of those keywords, then it's probably going to be your HR generalist. It's probably going to be your HR director. Like, those are the people you want to have the conversations with. But benefits are the second largest expense to employers. And so they really are more focused on immediate dollars, and not always thinking about the long-term game. It's like short-term dollars that people are really paying attention to. It's right, but that's just kind of the way the game is played right now.
I see a similarity like that with when doctors say that as well. Like, insurance companies really only look for at those 3 years and not the long term. So I could see that. Yeah. All right. It makes sense.
And it's different too, in that the smaller company you have, you more than likely are a fully insured health plan. So what that means is your company is buying, an entree. You don't get to swap out the different benefits that are covered. You don't get to decide what's excluded or not excluded when you're on a fully insured plan. You buy out of the box. The health insurance company identifies what's covered. The health insurance identifies what needs a prior authorization. The health insurance dictates all of that. The company just chooses this is the plan we need to offer. The larger you get, companies do start moving over to a self-insured model. And that's when it becomes more a la carte for the employer to make the decisions. So the employer to make the decision on, are we going to require a PA for a GLP-1 medication or not? Or are we going to cover weight loss medications or weight loss treatment in general or not? Is it a exclusion? So the type of health plan you have doesn't mean you stop advocating for yourself. It just changes who you need to advocate yourself to.
Excellent. Yeah. God, I didn't even know that. That's fascinating.
It is. She's talking and whispering too. That's very fascinating. That's awesome.
Enthralled.
And if I get too insurance, you'd be like, calm down. Normal. What does that mean? I don't get it.
This is the place where that is wanted and needed.
Probably very welcomed. Yes.
Yes. So, in terms of when they get to the a la carte, do smaller companies do that type of thing, or do they usually just pick it out of the box?
Usually pick out of the box, and that mainly comes down to cost. So when you are an employer and you move self-insured, that means they're actually paying for the actual cost of your claims, the actual cost of your medications. It's no longer giving the health insurance money just to maybe pay claims on your behalf or not. They are assuming the entire risk of the plan. So you do that when you're a much larger company, because you will have some people who never actually ever go to the doctor. And then you'll have, people in the full spectrum who are seeing the doctor frequently. So you're kind of owning that risk and keeping that cash until you actually need to use it or pay out the claims. The smaller companies, you don't have as much of a risk pool. More than likely, you're probably spending you don't have that much of a risk pool. It's easier for them to just have the guaranteed, this is how much we're paying per person per month, and not think about it. So it's purely cost and financial, and it's better for them to move into the fully insured model and just picking.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting.
Wow. So interesting.
I'm learning.
Yes. So when you're deciding, when you're making the decisions, and you say you've chosen to go the a la carte route, and it's not out of the box, and you're saying, okay, we decided we're going to cover weight loss, but we're only going to cover these two, and these two, you have to meet this criteria, when it gets like that, or we will cover off label. Does the HR or benefits people, do they really get into that? If they're at the a la carte level, okay, if I'm going to be asking about, someone that has, let's just use I think all our audience probably knows, let's say Victoza, an older GLP-1, they have a weight loss version called Saxenda, and they are the exact same medication that have just been branded differently.
Right.
I'm not sure about the cost, how much they are. I imagine they're similar-ish in price. I don't know. It's older. So, but like, for example, that, and they'll say, yeah, we'll cover that one because it's not as expensive as the others, but you have to have this type of BMI and you have to this and you have to that, or no, you can take it off label. It's fine. You know, like who's making that choice? Like, is it the same people that we were talking about?
More than likely, it's not. More than likely, the HR person at your job is being presented here's our recommendation, and the here's our recommendation is coming from the insurance brokers. So you might be utilizing a third party broker to help you negotiate your coverage and all of those things, and like being the conduit between the health insurance company. And it's probably the PBM, that's pharmacy benefit managers, like, here's our recommendation. So it's not like random Brittany, you're going through the list. Now, I am a unique breed because I worked at a health insurance company, and I do dig a lot deeper than most people would on what we offer. But most people that work in HR and in benefits don't have that unique perspective of working on the inside. So more often than not, they're just taking the recommendations from the PBM, taking the recommendations from the broker. I would say, like, health insurance companies are slow. PBMs are slow to update anything when it comes to what's covered, what's not covered. I would say, like, since the FDA recently has approved these medications for obesity and like weight loss, I would say you'll probably start seeing them added over time in the space. They don't want to make decisions. They, as in health insurance companies and PBMs, they don't want to make decisions that the FDA doesn't endorse. So they always let the FDA speak first.
Okay.
And then slowly will pick up on it. They don't, they just won't. So my expertise, I don't know, my gut is we'll see them begin added over time within the next year is my guess. Not soon enough if you ask me, but I imagine they'll be added.
Well, that's interestingly, speaking of FDA, so, you know, speaking of GLP-1 medications, they've been around for a little bit, for a good bit, and they're becoming more and more desirable to treat obesity off label. How have you had to adjust to this new environment of GLP-1 medications and coverage?
So I will say I'm a unicorn in that we have, I'm also on GLP-1 myself, so I kind of have a little self-interest.
Yeah, that's okay.
You're in the club.
You're here to help people.
I'm in the club, but our coverage actually I recently joined a new organization in February this year. And our plans actually had it covered. So we didn't have any exclusions. We have, our PBM actually covers Mounjaro and Wegovy with no PA or step therapy. Ozempic, you need it though. It's funny. But in general, I'm lucky in that I haven't had to actually make any changes to what we offer our team now. But you best believe I will be on top of every change every quarter when the formulary changes and when the insurance company may make changes to their step therapy requirements and at renewal. So I haven't had to, but it's top of mind for myself and others, but definitely myself.
So what happens when you mentioned every quarter, like the formulary piece?
So
what's going on there?
Insurance company refreshes their formulary on a quarterly basis. So call your insurance company or your PBM, ask them, when does the formulary refresh? If you're on the website and you're looking at your drug list, you'll probably see like the trend, like refresh July 1st, and then you'll probably see like refresh March 1st. So go to your PBM's website, look at the drug list, and you'll be able to see the dates, but everybody refreshes quarterly. If your PBM didn't have a prior authorization required in March, you may now. So check into it. Or they have earlier in the year and you don't anymore. So keep that in mind. Because that is all mandated and changed by the PBM. But formularies change every quarter.
Wow.
That's good to know. Note to self.
Yeah, God. So in terms of like, okay, now you've had a PA approved or well, I mean, like we're seeing some stuff with that, where people getting like their PAs, audited and then revoked for certain medications. Is the drive of that the normal quarterly thing? Or is that because they feel like they're just, I don't know, is the cost, they're not making enough money or something? Like, I'm trying to understand why this would just all of a sudden become a thing, unless it's just the demand has gotten really high and they're expensive. That's the only thing I can figure.
So I think it could be one of two things. It wouldn't be a quarterly formulary refresh. Like, I wouldn't imagine like that. More than likely, it was 23-year-old kid working in the appeals department who may have approved an appeal, or approved, because even the PA team has young kids just sending documentation out, maybe accidentally approving it, gets caught in an audit and reversed. Or just because you have a prior authorization doesn't mean it's not a benefit exclusion on your health plan. So step one, go to your summary plan description, see if there's a plan exclusion. Your prior authorization does not supersede a benefit exclusion. So see if you have a benefit exclusion. If you do, that just changes where you advocate to yourself. PA is not going to help you. Prior authorization is not going to help you. Step therapy is not going to help you. Like, that is completely full stop, not covered. So it could also have been, it was approved without somebody identifying and noticing that it was a plan exclusion. So I would say completely human error for those instances.
Wow. Gosh.
That makes
it's crazy when we see all this stuff on social media.
It makes me think of is that could that worst case scenario? I've heard of horror stories where say the pharmacy is coming after people after the insurance they decide they're not going to pay for it. So we're going to go after the patient and say, balance. Hey, you owe us.
Yeah, that's, I think
is that a possible worst case scenario? Oh, obviously it did happen.
Worst case scenario. And also if you read the benefit exclusion in your plan document, usually the plan exclusions are the last pages. You'll probably have 120 plus bullet points. And it's all up into interpretation, right? It might say benefits for weight loss treatment, and what one person identifies that treatment, does treatment mean you're going for surgery, or does treatment mean you're accessing medication? What does treatment mean? That's up for interpretation. And I would say that is a great moment to write an appeal. So there are definitely words that are up for determination of people that are processing prior authorizations, processing appeals. So I think that probably is part of that trend too.
So in terms of when a company has decided to have a plan exclusion for whatever reason, because they're doing a la carte and they've decided, or they've bought the one out of the box and they're just it's an exclusion, it's too expensive, we want it to be cheaper, we don't have to deal with that. So I'm curious, when that decision has been made and you've started a new company, you've realized you have the disease of obesity, you've realized there are FDA approved medications to treat it, you've realized it's not your fault. And then you go and your doctor says, here's medicine, and you can't fill it because of this exclusion. Are you screwed for a whole year? Or do HR benefits departments have an opportunity, if you do advocate with them, to do some sort of intermittent exclusion? Do you know what I mean? Or intermittent approval, where they'll say, sure, we're going to let you take it off label because maybe it's less expensive off label. For example, Ozempic, wegovy, we'll let you take it off label and it's special just for you. Is that even an option, or is it locked in?
So it depends on the HR department in the company. But I will say, when you are a self-insured plan, when they are doing it a la carte, go through every step of the appeals process, because through your insurance company and the PBM, the final decision maker of that appeals, if you go up the steps, goes back to your employer, and your employer can then make the call, right? So if it's something that your employer doesn't want to necessarily expand wide scale because they're not sure of the cost impact, go up that appeals chain, because it will come back to your employer as making a determination. That is only for self-insured plans, not fully insured plans. But that is my recommendation.
So self-insured
plans really mean your employer will approve it. I'm also caveating, but
still,
it's an option.
But we have to know the who's. So the fact that we know, in these stages where things go, with all of these, just it's just like a spider web, and they just try to just make us quit as much as possible, but like, this is not the thing that you quit on. This is not the thing you quit on. So I think I do always say exhaust the appeals, but I didn't even realize that eventually that one. And what about when something goes peer to peer in an appeal? Like that's between a doctor and a doctor. Who's that doctor on the insurance company?
Doctor and doctor. So it's doctors employed by the insurance company. So the first doctor in a medical review appeal isn't a doctor that's employed by the insurance company. The peer will be a contracted doctor, not on the actual payroll of the insurance company, but we're still getting paid to review the documentation. So I still think they try to match the doctors and the peer doctors with like the same similar specialty, but usually they're general practice, not necessarily like specialists or specialists. So I think that, in general is not great, but the way it is.
Okay. Yeah. And then they're able to make that call based on what the doctor, your doctor, for example, as the patient is telling them the medical justification for you needing this medicine.
And I would say have your doctors in your appeal send everything, inundate them with documentation. Because it could go to appeal, medical review. They may ask for additional documentation, but don't make them ask for that. It's just going to delay the appeals process. They may not know that you even have additional documentation that should be reviewed and taken into consideration. So overwhelm them with information.
So something Kathrin and I, we've become good friends. We are both very passionate about is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And both of us very much so. And for many reasons, but I don't think there's a lot of people talking about how I think being able to have recognized disease of obesity as a recognized medications to treat it. Why isn't that included in your efforts around diversity, equity, inclusion? Like, how are you not able to harness that? I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Like in benefits. Yeah. I'm very you-ing you right now, but I don't mean you.
You're good.
But like in general, like why isn't this a part of it? Because I feel like part of that conversation. If you are going to treat someone who has a chronic medical disease like type 2 diabetes, why would you not also treat another person who has a chronic medical disease of obesity? And I feel like there's got to be a way to harness that, because if 40% of America, 40%, struggle with obesity, not to mention the additional piece that maybe they're not obese yet, but they have all these other things, and we know a lot more about like things that cause obesity and where you could be in a year, where you could be in 5 years. Like, I feel like that would be an opportunity for a company to go, like, we accept everyone who they are, even if people of size, and we are here to support you in your health needs. And that would be almost an opportunity for a company to say, like, look, you want to come work here. This is what makes us different. This is what makes us special. And to Kathrin's point, pave the way, right? Be the trailblazers, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. And honestly, the people that I have reached out to that are in that space have primarily told me that they're very much focused on race. And that is because it's such a big problem and we know it. Right. And so it's very hard for them to shift to something that's very forward looking, which concerns me because that's kind of what they need to do. But it seems
that's why they're only focused on race right now.
But it's so bad, right? Like, but it's so bad. Like that's the thing.
And it could bleed into everything as well, with the obesity inclusion.
Not to mention obesity. And if we are going to go race, that is very prevalent in the Black community. Like, it is for sure something that African Americans deal with, and if this is huge, and not to mention, 80 to 90% of those people who are obese have type 2 diabetes, so I think that this is something that needs to be pushed forward. This conversation needs to be had, even when it's really uncomfortable. So I'm wondering, when it comes time to have that conversation with, your benefits team, if leveraging that initiative and making them put their money where their mouth is, because if they're over here going DEI, but they're not doing that, I feel like that's something that's a point. That's a bullet point. That's something that's important. Like, if someone came to you with said argument that we're bringing to you, like, how do you think that you would handle? I mean, we know you're different because you take these medications, but like, how would you? But like, how would you take that, or how do you think people around you that we work with would take that?
I think a lot would be taken aback, and I think a lot of people that are working in the DE&I space, I can't believe I'm putting this out there, I think a lot of them are performative. And so I think bringing this to them with the argument that you just made and tell them, like, show me you actually believe in, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Like this, it absolutely should be considered. And everything that HR benefits people team touches needs to have DE&I embedded into it. Like decisions should be made without that at its core.
Yeah. And the numbers don't lie. Like the data is all there to back all that up. All they have to do is just go, you know what? Yeah. And like, I get it. It comes down to brass tacks. Like I get it. But at the same time, you can't say that you're this organization that cares about that inclusivity and you're not having an inclusive benefit plan. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think that we need to talk about it more. Kathrin knows, I get very passionate about this topic. Thank you for indulging me.
I get so frustrated when, throughout the year, insurance companies will be like, "Oh, you need a wellness initiative," and I like to indulge them because I'm like, "Oh yeah, tell me what you think the wellness initiative is," and it's always like, "You can do like a nutrition webinar, or let me give you step counter," and I'm always like, "Nope, that's not the initiative that I'm doing. Have a good day." Yeah. Like that's been the recommendation since the 90s.
I call that so patronizing. Yeah.
So patronizing, so ridiculous. And it's still the recommendation. Like the wellness person at our insurance company has been hounding me for weeks, wanting to get me on a call. I'm like, no, like I'm not having this discussion with you. So have a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. You're like, nothing. Wasting my time. And I've worked for companies, Kat and I both worked for a company that had wellness benefit. And it was like reimbursement for a gym.
$300, right? It was like $300 a year.
I feel like it was good.
For a gym membership?
Yeah. Or you could buy a Fitbit, or you could do gym membership, or you could like get reimbursed for a Wii Fit. Like it was stuff like that. It was actually kind of cool if you think about it. Like
Wii Fit.
Wii Fit. This is back during P90X, so you could buy like those beach body fitness programs. Remember?
Billy Blanks, you just gave me a flashback to the Billy TV I used to do.
Us too.
Oh yeah. But like they did that. They offered us like we could go spend the money, our own money. And we were broke. Like we didn't make any money there. Sorry, we just didn't. They had amazing benefits, but everything else
the pay was
so good. Yes, we were young. It's fine. Everything's fine. But it was hard there because of that. But we would have to go spend our money and then get reimbursed. And so like we all did it because we were like, well, yeah, we need something, you know. But I mean, I certainly don't think people offering. And I remember Kathrin having mentioning something specifically about. Like someone saying it might have been you that was talking about the weight loss plan, how they offered like Weight Watchers membership.
We have Weight Watchers. We have a whole wellness program. Weight Watchers, weight consultants, discounts for Bosu balls, and all the things except for what you really need. Like I don't need another Bosu ball.
And like if you add all that shit up, and you have say you're a small company, you have 100 people, like. Are we getting to an okay place where we can like justify this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if people just look at it, like, let's look at what it is we are doing. And do we need to be doing that? Do we need to have trips? You know what I mean? Do we need to have all of these different things if we can take that money and make our, employees well? I don't think that they're thinking that. And it's not like the money isn't there. I just think that's a lie. Like, it's just, it's there. It's just a matter of what you're willing to give up.
And I've worked in various tech spaces where we have 4 kombuchas and we have an in-house gym and we have a $6.5 million culinary program with, plated meals. And and I just feel like I wonder what the real cost is. Like, what is the real cost of adding medications? Because it's made to seem that it's astronomical. And is that a story that we're being told, or is that reality that actually adding medications is very expensive? Because we're not told. It's very much like this black hole, right?
Yes. All of it is.
Oh, yes. It's such like gray area, black hole. Like it's not even, it hasn't even been like really not a lot of navigation to it at all, really yet. Like it's, and I think a lot of times, like what you're saying, it's very status quo. Like they've always done it this way. So that's how we're going to do it because I have other things to do. I got this meeting to go to, to check it off my to-do list.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't checked in February. Mounjaro just appeared on our formulary.
Yeah.
One day it wasn't there. One day it was. And
that's what happened to me today. It was weird.
If it's so easy for one, it feels intentional that the other isn't.
Well, and here's the thing too, the cost, right, of having a type 2 diabetes medication and having an obesity medication are very, very close in price. Like, even, I mean, especially if you take it off label, which we know when, like for Ozempic, wegovy, right, Semaglutide, it was approved for the indication. They're the ones that decided to rebrand it so they could extend their patent, so they could make even more money and they could charge more for it. Like that, they're the when I say there, I have to be careful about that. The manufacturer is the one that made those choices, right? So if we're talking about what's FDA approved, technically, Ozempic is FDA approved, right? Because it was approved for the indication. So, and that's the thing is like, if insurance companies would just go, then they pay $800 or $900 a month for medication instead of paying $1,500 a month for wegovy because you have a few extra pens and kill the environment while you're at it. Like, it just seems absolutely asinine to do that. Like, it is approved. It is, they have proven that that's okay. That's all just marketing hoopla, right? If you don't want to pay more for it, then pay for it off label. Let people take it. It's approved. And I can't stand that like, not the knowledge of something so important doesn't seem to either be present or seems to be ignored in these benefits or HR departments or just companies in general. Like, and I have a hot button for ignorance. Like, I just don't like when people don't like learn. I'm fine if you don't know. It is okay. It is okay to not know the answer. It is not okay not to learn it and seek it and then help others. It's just not. So the whole thing just pisses me off. And I just want to, but I make sure that, like, I'm very blessed that my company does, like yours, cover these medications. They do cover them off label. They cover them. The ones that are for obesity specific that are more expensive, you have to do a PA, but you can take them off label without a PA. And it's fine because we know, like, these medications we've learned, especially even through this podcast, right? It treats a biological dysfunction. It's the same spectrum or, that type 2 sits on. That's why they work. Right. And we know this now. And I just want to get to a place where when it's time, and I think it's great to have these letters, it really is. But I think having these videos where people that have, backgrounds in these specialties can say, hey, like what you just said a few minutes ago, right? If you go and you do the appeal, eventually it comes back to your company, and if that happens enough times, then we start to have pressure, right? We start to have force because nobody's going to look out for us but us. And it's sad that that's the way that it is, but that's why community is strong and powerful. And
I think it's important to, if you are working with your doctor to write an appeal letter, go on to the Google, type in your insurance company name and type in medical policy for X, and you'll be able to get like the actual medical policy as written by your insurance company. And you'll be able to see what reasons or why they'll approve the medication, what documentation you may need, and structure your appeal around it. Like, get that medical policy. And it's public for everybody. You'll be able to find every insurance company's medical policy.
Yeah.
All right.
That's fascinating. I didn't know it was all public. That's cool.
Yeah. And it may
at your fingertips.
Well, now they're probably going to hide it. But if they do hide it, your provider should have access to the provider portal and be able to look up the medical policy. But,
oh, really? I didn't know that either. So your provider, nobody tells us this shit. So your provider has access to a portal where they can see what's covered or not. And that's how they make a decision if they're going to prescribe it?
As long as you are seeing if an in-network provider. So if you're seeing an in-network provider, they know exactly, they should know exactly how to structure your appeal letter. They have access to medical policy. Like, make sure that it's great to get letters from your peers on the internet about appeals, but make sure you're structuring it in a way that's actually going to hit home.
They have all that information.
They sure do.
OMG.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my gosh. I'm getting hot.
I'm learning. Right. I'm like,
Get my crap claws.
You're funny.
When we did our
I
appeal
think you had a
sequence
question.
lines across the board, like we did the appeal letter and then we looked at that at sequence and we redlined. We're like, we're not using that word. We're not using that word. And we just scrubbed the letter so that it fell within the bounds of the law and the bounds of the policy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. I think that's awesome. Yeah. Kat, I think you had a question. I feel like I
got the question. Yeah. This has been a very interesting, always a very fascinating chat here. I just saw a TikTok user today said they got a call from our pharmacy benefits manager. She said it was kind of like an interview questions where they're asking, like, did she need a prior authorization, who prescribed it, and things like that. Do you see that happening more and more with pharmacy benefits managers, or could this just been like maybe a one-off, or maybe it's a smaller company? Like, what do you think possibly could, and this is just speculating here, right? What could have possibly sparked that call? That
now I need to find the TikTok because I really want to watch it. Yeah, I definitely want to watch it. I think maybe a few things it could have been, or one thing, I'm guessing like if the person had submitted an appeal or step therapy or any of that, it's possible that some of the documentation that the provider submitted like contradicted each other. So they were calling the individual just to like ask questions to figure out like what's true or not. I could see that as being a possibility if they weren't submitting like a PA or step therapy or anything like that. I have no idea. It seems
it could just be something small, like you said. Like it could just be a clerical mistake.
Yeah, it could just be a clerical mistake. It could be any of that stuff. I know there's also a lot of health, and it would be interesting to know if it was like actually pharmacy benefit manager or if it was. A lot of times these insurance companies have these like disease management departments where if they like see claims coming through for like diabetes, or if they see medications coming through for chronic illnesses, they'll have somebody from this like disease management department reach out to you, check in, see how things are going. How can I help support you? So it maybe could have been that person too. And it was thought to be a pharmacy benefit manager. I honestly no idea, but I really want to TikTok now, so please send it.
Oh my God. I'll go find out. I'll go ask that question. We'll send it to you. Yeah. Please. And then of course what's going to happen is within our community was a community full of people that have been traumatized for a very, very long time. There is a lot of trauma within this community. Someone's going to see that, and now everybody's going to think, oh God, now they're going to be calling my telehealth doctor and asking him all these questions. And my PA is at risk, and I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to get that. And it's not, I really don't think there's any, I don't think that, I'm sure there are a few outliers, but I feel like the majority of the people in our community are just incredibly traumatized and sick of being sick. And I think that when the coupon goes away from Mounjaro, right at the end of the month, for so many, the food noise is going to come back and they're not going to be their best selves. And I'm terrified for that because I know a lot of people, and we've already seen it, are starting to take compounds and they're getting them from things like individuals, not directly from a compound pharmacy, or they're getting it and reconstituting it, like putting it in their like at home, or things like that, right? What even doctors that are pro compounds have told us are very unsafe practices. And they're being forced and pushed to this. And it all goes back to the fact that I can't understand why we have a recognized medical disease and recognized FDA treatments for it, and why people are being pushed to make these choices. Because here's what's going to happen. These people are going to get sick. They're going to be injured. Something is going to happen because someone will. And the insurance companies are, in my opinion, and this, it's my opinion, but they're definitely going to get in a situation where they're going to have to foot the bill for that person that got sick. And that person only got sick because they were trying to keep well, because they finally got well, And like we talk about it with Rosie, and I said to her, I was kind of explaining this sort of conundrum that I'm mentioning to you. And I was like, but they can't go back. They can't be in the state of health that we are in now and not be in the state of misery of what we were before and think we're just going to go back there. And so they're willing to take all of these risks and do these things to be able to afford the medication that's fixed. But it doesn't have to do with the weight. It has to do with the health. And she said, I am no different. I would be the same way. Exactly. And I think that that's what people are missing. It's not that, anybody's trying to, get a hit off of something, you know what I mean? Or anything like that, or, oh God, I need my phentermine. It's not like that. It's fixing something that's wrong with your body. And I'm trying, through this podcast, because I have no money or no power. I'm just trying to talk a lot. And, like I'm feeling like eventually people are going to start being like saying, that's what I was trying to make a TikTok about it one time. I feel like what's happening is it's like you hear a song on a radio and it's supposed to be a hit, and eventually ends up being one. And you don't really like it at first, but they play it so much before you know
it becomes a hit.
So this is my song. This is our song, our community song. We're just gonna keep on saying it,
This is a summer hit.
Huh?
This is a summer hit.
Plus size. Get your water in my link tree.
Yes.
So
that is, and I know that you have a good experience, it sounds like, with Mounjaro. And I apologize for all of we've had a very spotty episode today with technical difficulties. And so I know there have been times where I get very passionate. So I appreciate you listening and giving me some grace on that. But I would love to know a little bit before we go, because I know we're getting close to time and I appreciate your time. But how have things gone for you on Mounjaro? Have you, has it changed your life as much as it has so many of others?
Are you talking to me or Kathrin?
I'm talking to you.
Okay. I was like, wait.
You're Brittany.
Well, I super love that I'm on this with Kathrin, because October 15th, I looked in our text message and I sent her a message. I was like, hey, tell me more about Mounjaro. I want to hear real life referrals or references. You must have posted something on Instagram or something like that. It was actually very early in Kathrin's journey that I decided to start as well. So my first shot was November 6th, and I've lost officially 47 pounds in that timeline now. And I just feel like I'm never tired anymore. I thought life was just being exhausted. I just thought that's what it was, right? I ate my emotions. I could be happy. I was like, I'm going to reward myself with that. I could be stressed. I was like, Chipotle. My boyfriend got to a point. He's like, oh, you're eating Chipotle? You must be stressed. I always ate my feelings. Doesn't matter what it is, but I have to eat food.
We can all relate.
And I don't do that anymore. Absolutely. Right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm happy. And I am not going to grab a brownie. It just isn't instinct. It's just not instinctual. It's just not a thing. Started working out a trainer again. I actually have energy to work out. And I love lifting weights. I've always loved lifting weights, but I just never had the energy to do it.
Yeah.
2019, I was at my heaviest. I was at 249 pounds, lost 70 pounds in the whole measure everything, weigh everything, chicken, rice, vegetables, every meal. Yeah. And it was a lot, and it was so draining. And one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to live my life. And I
exhausting.
Gained it all back, and started this journey again with Mounjaro, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy for you. That's amazing. I love hearing the stories that, of people saying things just like that. Now I can enjoy my life. Now I am free. Now I can, make my choices. Now I can enjoy exercise, all of these different things. And that's what's so magic about it. Because it's everybody says it's not this magic pill, but it kind of is. I mean, it does something to you and to your body so that it works right. So that the potential of you, the you that you are actually underneath all that, can be. Yeah,
it levels the playing field. Yeah. I feel good.
Yeah, it really does.
It levels
be left alone
so that I can actually play by the rules.
Yeah.
That everyone
I had someone come in my live one time, Kathrin, and they were like, is it fair that we are doing a weight loss challenge at work, which isn't a problem in and of itself, and that we are doing
so triggering
that at work, and that this person gets to take Ozempic and I don't? And my answer immediately was yes, for what you just said. It levels the playing field. They can't lose what you can lose because their body doesn't work like that. That's not how to work. You know what I mean?
But even beyond that, what kind of world do we want to be in? Where I want you to suffer.
Yeah.
I need you to suffer or you don't want it. That feels so sick and twisted and sadistic.
Yeah.
That's our
to suffer.
That's like our society. If you think about it, like,
yeah,
it's just a hot button item here. But like, you
girl,
think
we
about
live in a
welfare.
hot mess. Tell us all
Yeah.
If
you think about welfare, or, you know, this person gets this, so that's not fair. But like, why do you want that person to suffer? It's kind of like the food stamp situation. Well, someone's already counting your money, saying, oh, this person is driving this car, but they pulled out their EBT card. First of all, number one, it's none of your business.
Yeah, none of your business.
But two, I mean, it's just how society, like, that's how we are, I think, here, like in the States, like, worried about what somebody else has, you know?
Yeah, or doesn't.
Yeah.
Or doesn't.
We also need a vocabulary lesson between equality and equity. Like, this medication is equity for people who don't have a playing field.
Yes.
And I don't want you to suffer. Whatever it is, like, I want people generally to suffer less, no matter what it is. And if you want someone to suffer more, like, shame on you. Shame on you.
Agreed.
It's a reflection of like how you feel about yourself. Are you that like miserable with life that you want someone else to be just as miserable?
Yeah. I can't stand it. And I hate to say this, because I do think that because of the medication going away, and because of so many of our friends that we've made in this community have been able to experience this, and it's going to be taken from them. You know, we're going to see it. That's the part of humanity I don't like, but we're going to see it. People aren't going to be the best selves, and they're going to have envy and jealousy of others. And I would too. I would too. You know, and I would hope that in that moment I would be my best selves. But in this situation, I don't think I would.
Yeah.
And I worry about that, you know? So I hope that there are more things coming around, like in July. I hope there are people that add, like that amazing thing I had today, because I'm at the end. So I'm at the last dose of wegovy. I still have a lot of weight to lose. And at the end of the day, it's not gonna get me there. You know, I can keep doing the things I'm doing, but at the end of the day, my body's only gonna do what it's gonna do. And with Mounjaro, there are many, many doses, you know, so I have further that I can go for a longer period of time, you know, and, you know, obviously it's very limited with wegovy, and I've been at it a year now, and I think I've probably got at least another year. So I go and I check my formulary today, and there's Mounjaro, and I can take it with just like my other ones without a PA, you know, and all of that. When before, if I wanted to do it, it would be step therapy and all the things. And I was doing the step therapy. I was following stupid ass rules. But regardless, like, I'm glad that it actually came around. And I am just praying that we see that, like, for other people in our community, because to say that my heart is pulled and because I know this is coming, I don't think it's possible for it not to happen at this stage. So I'm just hoping that there are some changes coming around, and I'm hoping that, you know, that approval comes through, and we see a lot of changes and great coupons. And I hope that there are war of the coupons, like Alex suggested. We're like, wegovy's and like, we have the best coupon. We're like, we have the best coupon.
Yeah.
I pray that is the first time that I will see just delicious capitalism pay out in a great way. But, you know, like, I'm really hoping that I can see it. Just, you know, but I am a bit of an optimist. But lately it's been harder when I see people losing their medicine, and I see people so sad and so sick that I once saw so well, you know? Yeah. Anyway, that's what we're here to talk about. So thank you.
Well, I have to be a little bit Pollyanna and think that, you know, that maybe there could be some things that are coming, because, you know, there was that shortage in December, January, right? Because that's what I didn't have my Mounjaro for 2 months. Mounjaro. One of my Midwestern accent.
Oh, the Mounjaro.
Mounjaro, don't you know?
I'm Midwest too.
So, but that happened. People were like, it was kind of nutty back then too. So, I think it would be, I think it would be like suicide in a little way for Eli Lilly, just to say, tough titty kitty, done, you know. So let's see what they have. You know, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Keep
and,
hope
and
alive.
we know things, like, we've had conversations with people who work certain places, and certain people in our group have certain connections in certain places, and we may know something is going to happen, but we also don't really. You know, you know, I think we just kind of hope for the best, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like, when I think just straight business, like playbook, marketing, go to market. None of this makes sense to me without them coming to market with something quick. But I also didn't know that they will get fined if they are promoting a weight loss version anyway before they have an indication, and apparently millions of dollars.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, we learned it through the podcast. It's amazing when you get in a room and you have hard conversations, what can come out of it. Like, it's not always sparkly and cheery, but it's good stuff. It's good content, But so I think I'm thinking that, we're talking, I think we're months away. And every time I ever try to do a TikTok, I try to give people as much hope as I can, because I feel like it's the first time we ever had hope.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, especially if you've struggled with the disease of obesity for a really long time.
Yeah.
That was not a thing. The audacity of hope, like it just wasn't, it wasn't a thing. And now we have it, and I just don't want to lose it, because it's very easy to, when you've gone through the things that many of us have gone through for so long.
I get the desperation.
Desperation
in this moment for so many people, it's palpable, and I get it, because I couldn't imagine life. October last year. I never want to live like that ever again.
Yeah, me either. And so I think we just try to do what we can. Let's just try to, move forward. Let's educate. So many things can come through having hard conversations and education. So that's what we're going to try to do here, So hopefully we were able to reach some people tonight and give them some tools, for them to advocate for themselves, and then they'll know that all four of us have been through it. They're not alone. Not their fault.
You all matter.
Yeah, we all matter. The collective. Yes,
indeed.
Awesome. Well, you're a doll. Thank you so much for joining us and helping our community. We really appreciate it. And we wish you the best of luck on your journey as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, Brittany. And thank you so much, Kathrin, for coming and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast, because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you have this great resource, because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need. Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost-effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plussides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plussides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, Wegovy or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.